I want to tell you my secret now. I see dead people.
Welcome to Blondes and Booze. You are about to embark on a journey, one that often leads to more questions than answers. But fear not, your host, Krista, Aaron, and Brandy have the experience, the perseverance, and yes, even the gifts to pull back the veil and allow us to glimpse the other side. They will share not only their experiences, but will introduce you to world-renowned researchers and experiencers to help you find answers in the murky waters of what we call the paranormal. Their bonds with each other reach far beyond friendship, resulting in a pull-no-punches approach to the many subjects they explore. Their goal? To open eyes, hearts, and even minds to what lies on the other side, and the answers residing there.
Hey everybody, welcome.
Welcome everybody.
Hi everybody.
It's Friday night, woohoo!
Happy Friday.
Yay!
And to most of us, it's cold, it's snowy or rainy, just
Very
plain
cold.
out nasty.
And
So-
it's crappy. Yeah.
Right. So make sure you get your pillows, your blankies, your snacks, and come cuddle up because we've got some good stuff tonight. We're going to be talking about everything we can think of.
That's right. We have somebody else here with us. We have Mr. Paul Anthony. He has the podcast Paranormal Among Us. And Brandy and I just did a show with him, and we asked him to come on and co-host with us tonight. And he knows Tom and Rye, and so this should be a fun show. And if you haven't done so, he's wanting to grow his channel. He's got some good content, and I'm going to drop the link if you guys would go and subscribe to his channel, and we'd appreciate that.
Yeah,
Awesome.
you may have seen him in
Very
chat. You may have seen him in chat a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's also a fellow Missourian, so we've got to help out our own. So we're glad to have you, Paul.
And right now a fellow Ice Cube in Missouri here. So
Right.
And a fellow Ice Cube.
That it is. Absolutely. It is.
Exactly.
It is a cold one here. So
Yes.
anyway, we were just talking backstage. It's kind of funny because, you're from the St. Louis area. I'm from the St. Louis area. You were talking about KC95 radio station, and that station it's big in St. Louis. It's been around for 50 something years, and it's just funny. Yeah. I still listen to it.
you can pick it up on iHeartRadio now, I believe.
Can you?
And
Wow.
I've seen pictures of our servicemen over in Iraq or other countries over there with stickers on either their airplanes or bombs or something over there. So that is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, Brandy, you want to give a rundown of the shows this week and all that good stuff?
Sure, absolutely. I want to first start out by saying, okay, we're starting this thing again. If you've not checked your YouTube channels that you like, make sure you go back and make sure you're still subscribed. This is happening to a lot of people again. I don't know what it is this time of year, whatever. And also, I want to give a shout out to our moderators out there, just to let you know that I am running about a second or two behind the live stream in my chat. So if you could help things run smoothly for me, I'd appreciate it. So anyway, getting on with the channel lineup. Of course, on Monday night, starting this Monday at 8 p.m. Central, Texas Front Porch will start its new time. So make sure you watch at 8 o'clock Central instead of 7 o'clock Central. On Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central, it is Beyond BMR with Bigfoot Michigan Rob and his co-host Krista. On Wednesday at 7 p.m., it's Donnie Cho Says Stuff. And at 8 p.m., it is Inhumanoids with Barton Nunnelly and his lovely wife, Letitia. On Thursdays at 12 p.m. Central, it's Bigfoot Michigan Rob with Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. And I don't know who his co-host will be. Your guess will be as good as mine. So make sure you tune in to find out. Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. Of course, it is us at Blondes and Booze. And on Friday night, here we are again with Blondes, Booze, and the Woo at 8 p.m. Central. Tex has been changing his time on Infamous Minds with Danielle Diva. I'm pretty sure that is now going to be on Sundays at 8 p.m. Central. But before that, at 5 p.m. Central, Randy Gilbert and myself have released a new show called Truth or Tinfoil. We go through all these things on the internet that you just don't know or what's fake and what's real. And we're going to talk it out with everybody because sometimes I don't even know. So make sure you tune in at 5 p.m. on Sunday. And make sure to like and subscribe to that channel. Also, it's a brand new channel. We're just starting out. We had 0 subscribers when we started. Everything will help. So thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And Paul, when do you drop shows?
Now I'm trying something new this year. Last year I tried to do it on Thursdays around between 2 and 4 p.m. Central Time. This year, so far I've had a ton of interviews, and I'm trying to do at least Tuesday and Thursday each week. But I think that might change. I'll still do the recorded interviews on Thursday, but I might try and do like a live on Tuesday night. So
awesome.
Very
awesome.
cool.
We'll see. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm not going to waste any time. I am going to bring Rye and Tom up. Hey, guys.
Hi there, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
As we were talking about how jealous we are of you right now.
Yeah.
We're actually outside wearing t-shirts.
Must be nice.
It is. Well, we like this, but give it like 3-4 months, and then we're going to be like just dripping in sweat.
Wildfires behind us and Godzilla, and you'll be like, what's going on back there?
It's the summer.
Glad we're happy to be back, because last time we were experiencing some seriously bad technical difficulties, and this time it seems everything to be working well. So thanks for having us back.
Awesome. Absolutely. We thought we'd bring you guys back and we'd talk a little cryptid tonight and go down some different rabbit holes.
We're always game for that.
We're in it to Wendigo.
Oh, I like that one.
Oh,
Okay.
T-shirt,
Okay.
T-shirt. We're in it to Wendigo. Done. Wow. Done.
I knew that stand-up comedy improv stuff would come in handy eventually.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And if you guys haven't subscribed to Tom and Rye's channel, they are the Lost Frequency
podcast.
Yeah. And I've dropped their link, and I will continue to drop all 3 of these guys' links in chat tonight.
Yeah, we just won over 500 like 2 days ago.
Yeah, we just
wow.
First 500 hurdle. Yeah,
you guys have been very helpful, and we immensely appreciate
Yay.
Awesome. And Big Michigan Rob and everyone out there who's been helping us. We had Daryl Denton on our first live show the other day, and it just went crazy. So thanks to everyone out there, especially you guys, for having us on again.
Absolutely.
Well, you can't beat those live shows. You have the best people in chat, and it's always nice, to have them there live with you. And you can't beat a live show. I'm serious.
It was pretty tricky because you're listening to the guest, of course, and we're trying to interact, and I'm over here doing Facebook chats, and he's or YouTube and Facebook, and he's over there bumping up their messages, and it's
like one-man show. Yeah, one-man show is difficult. So Paul, yikes, it's gonna and I know at least you got Brandy and Krista. When you guys are rocking it, you kind of have like
you'll need some good moderators, and we have several in our chat that I can recommend for you. So
I might have to recruit my wife, at least for the first one, to see how this goes. Yeah. But you know what? I wanted to say, Rye and Tom, I like how you did the last live that you did. You had a separate camera on you. Yeah. That was cool. I like that.
I was like, why not? So I sent the link to myself and put it on my phone, and just set my phone up in a stand and shot it at a different angle.
Turned
and
the volume all the way down, and then
it was interesting.
Back and rocked it.
Yep.
We're gonna put some tape on that mug next time.
Yeah, but the only issue, so by doing that, the only issue I faced was that you can't actually completely mute the volume on your phone, so it still is you're speaking here, and then it's coming through on the phone a little bit. We could kind of hear it. So I'm just gonna, like Tom said, I'm gonna put a little tape on the bottom of the speaker.
We're so DIY. You have no idea.
There you go.
Very
That
DIY.
works.
We're like, what can we do? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That works. That definitely works. Well, I know from experience, like it's hard to do this by yourself, so Brandy and I kind of have a system down, and we with in humanoids with Barton Nunnelly too on Wednesday nights. And honestly, he's got so many people in his chat. It moves so fast. It is definitely a 4-man job.
Mhm.
So
I can imagine.
It
And so
is.
and I have a question. So your moderators, do they, message you to say, oh, hey, this person is a, not bad ones, but I'm saying, oh, here's a question. Maybe you should, answer this question. Is that kind of what they help with?
So our moderators are really, really good. And if there is a question, they will message, but we pretty much let them do what they need to do. They know what comments are bad that need to be taken down, or
Fair
if
enough.
they need to just time someone out or ban them,
Yep.
Yeah,
We
exactly. It's all in good moderators.
Yes, it is. And everybody knows, everybody's entitled to their opinion. However, we don't allow anybody to insult our guests or anybody in chat.
Or just insult. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We'll be gone for that.
Or super foul language. We don't allow that either.
Bad
So,
vibes. We're trying to have a good time here and try to really just kind of explore what
Exactly.
it is that we're talking about. Like there's
Right.
mysteries going on in the world.
Yeah.
And people want to talk
That's
about
right.
Jennifer Lopez. I don't. I want to talk about fun stuff, but I want to have a joke about it at the same time. But let's keep it not necessarily PC, but let's keep it civil. I guess that's the best way to go.
You know what was crazy was the other day someone I disagreed with someone,
Did you?
and then they brought evidence forth that proved me wrong, and
Oh.
and I said, oh, you're right, and I said, thank you for showing me that, and then I said, okay.
Yeah.
I said I was wrong, and you were right, and the world kept turning.
Right.
right,
And that's what
exactly.
it's about, promoting everybody and it's not just us in this. We're all into this for the same reason. We're all wanting our answers, so why hold it back? Spread the love with everybody.
Exactly.
That's how we see it.
It's like
know,
Yeah.
it's like holding back a fart at the Christmas table. You don't want to. It's bad. Just
Just let it go.
no. Be polite. Leave the room.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just leave the room. Just
It's-
leave the
Or just
room.
cough.
Ring the doorbell. Oh yeah, subterfuge. Always
Yeah.
works.
Yeah,
oh, that's funny.
it's kind of like a fart at the Christmas table. Just get up and leave, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I heard someone at the door. Let me go check.
Talking
That's
about
funny.
cryptids farting.
Yeah,
There we go. You never know.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Of course, that's our show. It's totally unscripted, and it's whatever happens.
Yeah.
You mean that Bigfoot has to eat something that disagrees with his tummy once in a while? You mean to tell me that Bigfoot doesn't pass gas? Come on.
Of course.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. Come on,
I was reading your mind.
there's
See,
got to be
telepathy,
some
we're
gas
there, Brandy.
leakage.
Yes. And yes, Glenn, we are the guys in Mexico. That's
Yes.
as Glenn is saying that. Blame the turkey for the smell. Oh my God, then no one's going to eat the turkey.
Dude. And then your mom, everyone's going to look crazy at your mom? Like,
Yeah. It'd be like, oh my God, there's something's wrong with this turkey.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And as bad as this conversation is, there's a lot of people in chat that are just agreeing with what you're saying.
Yeah.
it's kind of like what I do.
How did this happen? Yeah,
Well, we do,
we just kind of get distracted. We go off like Tom and I were like, okay, we're going to talk about this before we start, and then next thing you know, we're talking about something else completely different. We're off some other
It's
tangent.
kind of like an ADD ping pong match or something. I don't know.
I like that. ADD
Definitely a
ping pong.
different kind of rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Well, there's William Baez. He says maybe we can track Bigfoot's gas. I mean, well,
we got satellites. We got
That's the
technology.
global warming.
Exactly.
yeah. I mean, why not? Sure. We've got
that's funny.
there's electronics out there to find that. I'm sure.
You can use
I mean,
the
if they
thermal
can
cameras.
if they can track methane gas,
Right?
Exactly.
You
Right.
can
I'm
use
pretty
the
sure they
thermal
can track
cameras
that.
and see like poofs of air coming out from the trees.
right?
There you go.
Right, exactly.
The tree. Yeah.
Why not?
And that's what I find actually. So if we're going into cryptids, yeah, I find that so fascinating that Bigfoot can literally hide behind a tree. So we're going to see poofs of gas coming up from the tree. I know I kind of like stole the conversation and brought it back into the
if you're
cryptid,
gonna have
but
those gifting posts, you put like cans of beans out there.
Cans
and
of
it's like
beans.
maybe like you'll hear like those howls or what do they call it, the Sierra sounds, and in between, or that like samurai chat, like
okay. And all serious now. Okay.
Okay. Everybody breathe.
Yeah.
Back on track.
Not here.
Back
I
on
don't know.
That's funny.
I don't know if I can. Ooh.
Yeah.
I haven't had one of these laughs in a while. I've had those times where it's been uncontrollable laughing and you just can't stop, and then you're laughing so hard you go silent.
Yeah.
You just can't even hear yourself laugh. Yeah, I've had those.
Love
Right.
it.
Those are the
Thanks,
best days
Rob.
of your
Thanks,
lives.
Rob.
Those are the best
Yeah,
days of your
BMR.
lives, man. You remember the time yes, that's when
He's
that's the
awesome.
things you remember the most, I think.
I can't believe I'm putting up comments about farting.
How did we get there? Oh,
I think
because
it was me.
you brought
Sorry,
up the
guys.
farting at the
We
kitchen
did the
at
fart on
the
Tom's
Christmas
fart
table.
joke.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Oh, thank God we're rated for adults only. Woo! Okay.
Just talked
Right.
about Bigfoot
Bigfoot
farts.
farts.
Yes, exactly.
This show stinks. All right, this show stinks. Sorry, I didn't get your name, but that was great.
That's Poncho.
We could go all night. I'm telling you.
Oh
we
my
could.
gosh.
That's how all shows should start, a little bit of comedy,
man.
get everybody laughing, get everybody warmed up. You got to warm up the crowd, right? You know?
That's how I
Yep.
And
go.
then we dive
Right.
into it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right,
Right.
all right,
We don't
Krista,
always have to be
the-
serious,
the,
we
the
can
floor
get
is yours,
serious.
Krista. Please reel this in.
Bring us back in. Okay,
Yeah.
come on.
let's talk about like some cryptids and humanoids.
Mm-hmm.
What have you
Well,
guys heard of being down there in Mexico? What kinds
Well,
of
the
Well,
chupacabra, of course. It's the chupacabra.
Actually, so, and this is something we'll bring up, is that the chupacabra in the area we are in is a joke. Everybody thinks when you mention the chupacabra, they're like, they laugh it off. They're like, I can't believe you're bringing that up. That is a joke. That's an old wives' tale. That doesn't exist. But you talk about Aleutians, that's a whole other thing. So Aleutians are like your little people, 3-4 feet. Anywhere, what, 2 to 4?
2 to 3 feet. They're
2 to
very
3
small.
feet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're kind of a what they call it,
Cherub looking.
Cherub thing.
Yeah, like the cherub cupids kind of thing. That's the kind of look that they have. But of course, native skin, darker skin.
Belly, Buddha belly, kind of. Yeah.
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 That is what is here, and they're kind of, they're deemed to be elementals, but also
Homunculus.
Shout out to Juan from 101 Podcast. They are created, which it makes them a homunculus, kind of like a golem, where they are created after
Okay.
9 days of like almost like bloodletting, introducing blood and corn and water and setting the intention of what you want this creature, this thing to do. And it's usually a protection of your property, or your house, or your family.
Okay. So they're not negative on a negative side then.
I would say no, but
They could be.
perhaps once, and this is all the stories that's coming out. Once the creator or their master has moved on, passed on,
They're still here.
they're still here, and they're like, what do we do? So if someone moves on to new land, such as Tom, moves into land that was previously occupied, that perhaps was protected by these Aleutians, well, they're going to kind of bug you, annoy you, try to get you off the property, because that is what they were created to do.
I was having
Gotcha.
problems out there with, I believe, them. But ever since I was, I talked to a local guy here that we actually had on the podcast, and he was telling me what to do. And you just basically give your intent that, you can stay here, but just don't bother us. And, if anything, we're going to improve the land and not make it worse. And ever since then, actually kind of calmed down a lot. But they like to throw rocks and
Throw rocks. Throw rocks is a big thing, but I think
voices. They're pretty like remember the old Bugs Barney cartoon where he's on the plane with the thing hitting the hitting a bomb and stuff like that on the side. They're
Yeah.
kind of like that, but like a Mayan version of it.
You mean like a gremlin kind of thing?
Gremlin, yes.
Okay. So how tall are they? Do they say they are?
2 to 3 feet. Yeah. And they
Wow.
look like children. They kind of look like little children or little gnomes almost in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tom, what was happening at your house that a red flag went up?
Well, it's not really a house so much. It's like I bought this land about a year ago, and it's about half hour away from the city. It's kind of out there. It's off the road. I'm about a mile in, and there's literally no one that goes out there except for a few occasional hunters. So it's like me and 3 other neighbors, and it's maybe back there, I don't know, a couple thousand acres, and there's nobody back there. I mean, I literally have jaguar prints about 300 yards from the edge of my property that my daughter found in the middle of the road.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm out
Yeah,
there.
that's one thing you got to be aware of is snakes and jaguars.
I'm out.
Snake, jaguars,
And crocodiles.
scorpions,
Or alligators or crocodiles?
Here's crocodiles.
Crocodiles.
But I don't have them on my property. But
No,
yeah.
no.
And so we have solar power. So I'm really I'm off the grid and everything ever since that big thing that happened. I was like, I'm out of here and I'm going into the woods. And yeah, this podcast happened to happen. So that's also pretty cool.
Wow.
Thing to happen because of it. But yeah, so I was out there with a campfire with my daughter, and we were just hanging out near the edge of the woods. I cleared it all out and put some stones up, and the rock came in and hit the thing. It hit the trees around me, and just it was pretty weird. And I didn't let her know that it bothered me, so I just kind of made an excuse that we should just it's getting dark, let's go to bed. Okay, Daddy, let's go. That was one thing that happened, and I also had 2 instances where there was a light. I sleep outside in a hammock, and what's surrounded by mosquito nets, and I have a metal roof, and there was above my daughter's hammock, there was like a light, but it wasn't like glowing orb. It was just like a small light on the roof, and I go to look for where it's coming from, and then as I do, it disappears. That was one time, and then off to my right in the shower area, that's also outside. I seen the same thing about a week later. I heard this tapping noise on the side of the wall. That happened a couple times, kind of rhythmic and weird and ominous. About 3 in the morning, and I seen the same light, but this time it was on the wall, on the vertical wall.
Wow.
Anyway, the wall, not the ceiling, but the wall. Let's not try to go into math right now, Tom. And geometry. And yeah, so I seen this light. It was actually moving this time, off maybe literally 4 foot from me. And I go to look again, and then nothing. And it was like a bluish white light, and then nothing. And then maybe 2 minutes later, outside of the netted area, maybe 20 yards, if I had to guess, behind me, I heard a voice, like a whispering, speaking female voice, but it wasn't. I couldn't distinguish what it was, what language it was even. So I'm guessing it wasn't Spanish. You can tell there's a certain syntax to it. It wasn't English. It wasn't German, because I also speak German, which would be weird to hear German in a Mexican rainforest.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, Hitler made it down here too?
We gotta go. If we want to go into rabbit holes, we got to go way more south for that. Argentina.
So I'm guessing it's Mayan, because I've heard Mayan before. Because you can actually go out into the villages here, and there's places where you don't hear Spanish. So I'm guessing it was that, and ever since then, like I said, I went up into the woods and put my intention out, and ever since then, it's been a lot better. Actually, it's been quiet for like the last 2 months.
Yeah, you haven't really said much after that. No.
Wow. Okay, so I got questions. We got to go back. First off,
rewind.
I got questions.
Yeah. First off, thank you very
backward.
much, Shade Viking. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Shade.
And secondly, okay, you just told us that there's jaguar prints, all this scorpions, and you sleep outside. Explain that.
Yeah, I mean, sleep outside.
Are you afraid of getting eaten?
No,
not with the jaguars. As long as you're more of a bigger presence, I'm
honestly more afraid of how do you say that word? totalitarian regimes than I am of any scorpions or jaguars.
Okay.
If I have to be
Yeah,
honest
that makes
with you.
sense.
And
That makes sense.
And the scorpions here are not like these
Oh, you've
death
actually been
dealers.
stung.
Yeah, I've been stung. I got stung 3 times at the same time by a scorpion. It is the equivalent of being stung by a bee, like the pain intensity. But there is a strange side effect: is that your tongue goes numb. So,
Oh, wow.
like it's not like your tongue is hanging out, like you have no control of it. You just have no feeling of your tongue anymore. Very strange.
Yeah, and
Just
also-
like when you go to the dentist and have work done, sort of.
Yeah, exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
I always hated that. I've also
So you
seen
get the drooling effect is what's happening.
Yeah, and this happened in the middle of the night, like 3 or 4 in the morning. My daughter had woken up crying. She was like, I think maybe almost a year old, maybe 7 months old, 8 months old. And so my wife went and got her, brought her into the bed with us, and I got back into the bed. And yes, it was in the bed with me, and it stung me twice on my knee. And I went with my hand and I hit it off with my hand. And as I did, it got me in my hand as well. That was wonderful. And then that morning, actually, I'd registered for a 10K run. So then I had to go run 10K with I make it sound like, oh my gosh,
with
poor
your tongue
me.
hanging out like Michael.
Yeah,
Jordan.
like my tongue was numb and my knee was kind of hurting from getting stung by a scorpion. So that tells you it's not that bad if I'm able to run 10Ks in the morning.
And there's all kind of stuff that we have. Like I've seen many different snakes, but the craziest one I've seen out there was maybe a 7.5, 8 foot long python.
Oh,
That kind of snuck up on me when I was out there because I only get one place where I get signal. Yeah, I don't like totalitarian regimes, guys. I mean, come on.
wow.
No, that's not scary
That's
at
why I
all.
left Germany. It's why I left
Yeah,
Germany.
no.
No.
That's why I left
Wow.
Germany. It's,
Not if
I
it
had
were
to
10
come-
feet long.
Yeah, it's
So-
But yeah, no, if the python hits 12 feet, then we
that's
might
when you start to worry. That's when they get jobs and stuff.
Right. So, Tom, are you experiencing like even paranormal activity out there? I mean,
I
the
guess the
whispering-
lights
what-
on the walls is
and the whispering in the ear. Did
the
you
whispering in the ear. That was also one time too. I was in a hammock in a different position.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I would assume that only because what you're describing is something that could be like in the Fae family,
Mhm.
In the who family?
and
Fae-
along with
Fae,
that
like
does
fairies,
come
fairies.
supernatural. Yeah, trolls, gnomes, brownies, you name it. They're all kind of they're all thrown in like one group, which I don't know if that's fair.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's fair.
I think we're just making assumptions. We're trying to figure it out the best we can, and maybe we do throw it all into a group because it's kind of somewhat
Sometimes you want to
similar.
throw things
But
into a box, and sometimes you have to go, maybe not that, and then next
Yeah.
thing you know, you open
Like-
it up.
yeah, like the Aleutians technically are part of that as well, because it like the Fae is kind of almost a little bit elemental in a way too. Like they are
Yes.
something like that. But these allegedly Aleutians are also creations as well, like we said, homunculus, like golems and whatnot. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. And the gentleman that works my father-in-law's land, who helps him work on the land, he actually saw one. He said it was hiding behind a tree and it would stick its head out. And he said it kind of stood out there, and it was this exactly like we
on
described.
the actual land itself.
Not on my father-in-law's
okay,
land. No.
'cause I've been there.
On a other land when he was working, and yeah, he says it. Like they're naked, they look like cherubs, and it looked like a little kid, but it wasn't. It looked like it, but it wasn't.
Wow. Real quick. Thank you, Sherry. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Sherry.
Yeah,
Sherry.
Sherry.
Now,
Very.
Krista, you think you've seen an elemental?
hmm It was at
Okay.
it was at a case. It was a private case that we were doing, and she called us in for ghost.
Really?
hmm And come to find out, so backstory on it, and I've told this story before. It's a big horse farm in a town called Washington, Missouri, and gosh, we've been part of that, working with her for over 5 years, if not longer, on this particular case. And she was having horses come up dead for no reason. And then she was having things go on in the house. So we did paranormal, we approached it that way. And in her barn, she has a beautiful barn, and she's got a tack room. And I had opened up the door to go in there, and there was like the only way I can say it was like a troll gargoyle looking thing in there. It was weird.
Interesting.
It was weird. And I'm not the only one that saw it. So that same evening, 2 other teammates saw it out in a tree on the property. So
Wow.
it was just
sorry,
weird.
Krista, can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
Did you mention it to them before they saw it, or did they see it independently without being without you saying that you had seen this?
I did not mention it.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's
That's
the
always
thing.
that always adds so
It
much
carries
more
so much
validity.
more weight.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
that's the thing. When we do private cases, we're there to comfort the homeowners. We don't want to scare them. So we don't talk
True.
about our encounters till after we go, till we leave and say this happened, that happened. We write it down and, the whole 9 yards.
Which is also
So-
kind of scary if you're asking me. We have the investigator, the person who can help us out. And they're like, oh, by the way, I seen an elf in your shed. Have a nice weekend.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. So no, we would never do that. And so I didn't know. At first I was thinking like on the demonic type level, because at the time I didn't even believe in like fairies and, things like that. And so like I said, I've studied demonology under Jeremy
Right.
Leonard. And I contacted him and I'm like, hey, I saw this thing. And he said, well, there's an elemental there. That's an elemental what you saw. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? So we ended up, we had to, at one time that was a big orchard and the trees had been taken and made fencing for horses for the horse farm. So we had to plant 2 apple trees back and give back to them. And
Okay.
and the homeowner can never like eat those apples or none of that. And you know what? It's worked so far.
Interesting.
So no apple trees equals crazy looking dude in the tack shed.
Well, because they cut down all the trees,
Yeah,
they pulled them all away,
Yeah.
and they
I'm
don't
just-
have a way to go. They're
And she
mad?
even, because she was
Yeah.
having client horses die. And so she sent him to like the state of Missouri and Columbia, Missouri is a big veterinary school and hospital. And she sent one of the dead horses there just to make sure it wasn't nothing at her farm. They couldn't tell why the horse died. It was, a young horse. And she lost 3 or 4 of them. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well,
That's crazy.
the reason why I mentioned that is because, maybe, Tom, that you can use something like that, maybe to
Appease.
keep them,
Yeah.
appease them and make them happy.
I've tried to plant 4 coconut trees. They all died. Because I'm not a
They don't like them then.
my thumb is very brown, I suppose. But I do have a banana tree out there, and I have a papaya tree going pretty well. I'm trying a couple things. I've just been so busy trying to make ends meet at the moment. I don't have the time that I really prefer to go out there and actually spend on the property.
Yeah.
But I will eventually, because that's what I
Right.
want to do with my retirement. Is just kind of just grow for myself.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, but I've been up there a while. I got a couple crazy things in the woods that I can't actually talk about because there's agencies involved that I don't want to get involved with. There's things out there on my property that, but
which is quite common in
Which is
like common in this area.
common in this area.
it's like got pyramids around here and stuff. So you'll find things sometimes
Yeah.
in some people's properties.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's some things that you got to be aware of, and I just try to treat everything with respect. And always go in with the intention. I actually not just say it in my mind, I'll say it aloud, and even though it's English, I'm sure they'll get what I'm trying to do. So it's pretty wild.
Right.
Never thought my
So
life would
have
end up
you-
being here anywhere. So
Right. So have you heard of these, what'd you say, Alushas? Have you heard of
Alushas.
them, Alushas, anywhere else besides in Mexico? Have they been in any other?
Never heard this word or anything being described. Like of course there's other. You go into other areas like duendes.
that's the little. That's the ones.
No,
that
those are yes. Those are the little ones, which
They're-
are around here as well. But I've never heard the word Alush prior to moving to Mexico. Once I got here, then
the
my
spelling is ALLUXES.
I think it could be one L because it's
it's
not a U.
No, that'd be a Y sound. Right?
Yeah, so I think it's just but it's ALUX singular or ALUXES for the plural. If people want to check that out and
Yeah,
take a
Pretty
look
common.
at it.
There's a bridge that we're trying to build in the Quintana Roo. It's a state of Yucatan. We're in Campeche, we're on the Atlantic side. That's on the Caribbean side, And so they were trying to go from Cancun to like whatever the next city is down, Tulum, that direction. And they were trying to build a bridge across this one area. And they've tried like 4 times on one of these pylons. And either the bridge would fail, the pylon would collapse, or the equipment would fail, or whatever. And they talked to the local people and they said, you have to build a shrine for the Aleutians. They put it up there.
Like a home, right?
Like
Was it a kind of
literally like a shrine thing.
shrine home
And we're
almost.
going to look this picture up. And then they had no problems. And then they're building the train Maya. So they took it down again. And the same problems now persist again. So it's a pretty crazy thing I heard.
Wow.
I had talked with a guy from England who he didn't use the word Aleutians, but he did mention that he witnessed little people in his backyard that he grew up in. I forgot what town in England, but I've heard him over there as well.
Wow.
The ones in England are really creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
And I'm trying to figure out the word for them right now.
Sorry.
Hey, to all those little people and elementals in England, brush your teeth.
Brush your teeth.
Well, the English,
yeah.
the English, and I'm sorry, it's a stereotype, but the English are well known for their terrible teeth.
Yes.
Well, I
That
can
is
see
Tom
Tom out there with the little travel toothpaste and the little travel, toothbrush, and he's just laying them out there.
Exactly, exactly.
little biscuits from my mates.
Yeah, just little care packages.
But I would say that there's not really more other cryptids other than like
What's the shapeshifter.
the shapeshifter.
What's that one called? I can't think of the name of it.
That's more of just a brujo.
Really?
It's the witch, like the witch doctor who, you pay him money and he will shapeshift usually into like a cat or a dog to follow, usually to follow your loved one.
Ishtabai is a very famous one here. It's a famous witch that my girlfriend was telling me about in her property. They have a huge. The place is full of caves. So whenever the end of the world comes, I'm sure they're going to crawl right out of the ground, right here. And because it's limestone and it's crazy. And she was telling me an experience where she was out there when it was her uncle and like another uncle or her father or something. They're out having a couple beers on the weekend. And he's like, "Hey, I'm going to go get some more money to buy some more beer." And he was like, "Okay." And he just sits up there by himself. And all of a sudden, this woman comes out of the woods and sits down next to him like a beautiful woman and says, like, "Would you like some more beer?" And he goes, "Yeah, but I don't have any money to buy any. I'm low this much." He goes, "Okay, I could buy that for you." He goes, "Okay." And he gets to talking to her and he looks down and like one leg is like a chicken leg and the other leg is some other animal. And he
said a goat, right?
It's a goat, yeah, like a goat leg and a chicken leg, but a beautiful woman on the top.
Wow.
And he freaks out and runs. Like this place is. They're not. It's so much different than like being in the Western like world, like Europe or America or Canada or something. It's such a different vibe down here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, you wouldn't call it witchcraft down there. You would call it what? What do they do down there? Is it Santeria or?
No. I would definitely call it witchcraft, but they just call them, of course, the Spanish term is just brujos and brujas. There's curanderos, but curanderos are kind of like your good ones. Those are like your white witches, and those are like the healers. But then there's the brujos and brujas, and those are the ones that are pretty much witchcraft is what it is. Like black magic. Black mind magic,
and it's kind of commonplace. Everyone kind of knows about.
Yeah,
this.
like you go to the market and you will find like booths where they sell these candles that have been, set up to you burn this for love. Like, it's kind of like, what is that? The JoJo's Psychic Alliance kind of thing.
It's not like a strip mall thing either. It's like literally, like these little places. It's much different than you've ever experienced.
But you can find, like I was saying earlier, you find someone and they will shapeshift into an animal to follow, and it's like even a black dog, like we're kind of getting into the black dogs. They will follow your loved ones. Like it's usually jealousy. Jealousy is a big driver here. It is huge, and people are jealous, and it's like I want you to follow it to see if he's cheating on me, and and it's commonplace to hire someone who allegedly will shape change. And actually good friends of ours, he was talking about one where there was this one individual who was this shape changer. He actually told me a story that he was the only sole survivor of a airplane crash too. And it was very strange that this man survived, and he's the shape changer as well. Like a witch doctor, I guess you could say, but they would call him brujos.
His name wasn't John Denver, was it?
No.
That was a really dark joke.
Very. Very.
Oh boy.
That's what I do.
Well, that just brings me back to, I mean, these shapeshifters. Do you know if that they're summoning this for themselves? You know, because they say a lot of shapeshifters ask for this, like somebody would conjure a demon, but they're conjuring this for themselves. Is this what they're doing?
Right. I don't know as much as you do.
Sorry. So are they conjuring this ability to be able to change into?
Yes.
That I don't know. If it's kind of like on the same lines, because it seems very much like on the same lines as the flesh pedestrians, as we call them. You know this. Skinwalker. It's along that same line where they're able to transform into an animal, like a lycanthrope is kind of what you're talking about.
Yes.
But this is kind of like a choice. So, are they making pacts with demons? Are they creating, are they doing are they doing some sort of sacrifice? I don't know.
But I know the witch thing I've heard about, like if there's a witch in the family, everyone knows there's my aunt, or there's always someone's aunt, and for some reason the aunt will somehow instinctively know which one of her nephews or nieces or whatever would be a good witch, and they will actually like talk to them. For somehow there's like some type of sensed ability, and I don't know if that helps answer your question, Brandy, but I don't know, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can honestly see that the family would kind of sense if there was something different about a family member. I mean, take American Families and Psychic Mediums. We watch them grow up and we're like, yeah, there's something different about them.
Well, and this isn't so much hidden here. Like brujos and brujas is not really like a hidden thing. Like it's most people are going to know. They're like, oh yeah,
and like
mi tia is a bruja. Yeah.
Every family has somebody, so it's pretty weird.
Well,
or I wouldn't say has somebody or knows someone. I would say knows
my
someone.
girlfriend, she'll say, my aunt's right there in that house. That's the witch.
Oh, my wife's family is not there. There's not like that in their family, but they know. They're going to know someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Crazy.
She goes, you want to meet
that
her?
just makes me that makes me wonder though, when you say, hey, that's my aunt, that's her house, everybody knows she's a witch, do people like stay away from them? Do they shun them? Do they?
Well, no, I would say you would be more careful. You just be more careful, but people will, people are going to approach you because maybe they want something, because you're able to offer something. It's a service.
But at the same time, I imagine it also serves as a matter of protection because people will not take things from you.
True.
You know what I mean? Because down here, because of the poverty, like people, it's not very.
It's not violent crime. There's not violent crime.
It's more petty theft,
but there's a lot of theft. Yeah,
a lot of theft. So I think that it's also maybe a form of like protection against that.
Oh, okay. So you just be super nice to them, is what you're saying. Just be super nice.
To the witches.
Come paint your house. Oh, I'll move the skulls. Yeah.
Right. We'll take care of you, no problem.
Yeah, it might
that's one way to do it.
Never know.
Wow. You got a lot of weirdness going on down there in Mexico.
There is. There's a lot of high strangeness.
I mean, I'm here. That's definitely added to the.
Like the UFOs, the UAPs. There's a lot of that. There's the. What else? There's the area of silence. Like the zone of silence. Actually, the zone of silence as well. That's definitely a place I'd like to go visit. Have you heard about that yet?
The zone of silence.
No, it's like this large kind of desert area that encompasses. It's kind of like 3 states all have a piece of it, and allegedly you go there and like no electronics work. It'll drain all your batteries. Like even if you're like pretty close and you can call it to the person, for some reason it deafens your voices as well. So you're trying to call it, be like, hey, what are you doing? It like not like we're talking here, but if you go stand, across the street, it would just reduce the intensity, like the volumes of your voices. That is
a weird place.
Wow.
And the thing is, it's like the indigenous here are still here. When you're thinking like Mexican, you just think, oh, it's just a brown person, but no, they're the indigenous people, like the Native Americans. They're actually just Native Americans. That's what they actually are. So they bring a lot of that. So they have like the European culture influence of the Catholicism and the language mixed with their indigenous culture. So So you'll have like a strong Catholic family, in which everyone has like a shrine in their house. Like
Yep.
you'll walk in, there's just Jesus, and it's just huge, and they're really into it. And at the same time, off in the corner, there'll be something else, and you're like, "What is that?" We don't talk about that. It's a mixed thing. It's different.
Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
So in your location right now, how far are you from Cancun, from where we're located?
About a 5.5 hours, 6 hour trip.
6 hours. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's about an hour and a half to the next main city. And then from there, it's like 4.5 hours to Cancun.
Okay.
Now we're off the map here. Off the map. We're the strangest podcasters in the world doing what we do.
Yeah, there is actually and speaking of what Tom was saying about the mixture of like Catholicism and like old ways, there is a town that's near us where and I think I might have brought this up, like Day of the Dead, they kind of mix these two they mix these two kind of religions, because they used to actually, keep their loved ones with them after they have passed on. They stay there, so they kind of like their bones stay there and everything. But when the Spanish came, they're like, no, you can't do that, you need to bury them, like you have to bury your dead. So they would bury their dead for 2 years, and then they'd exhume them and then clean them up, and like they'd literally take brushes, clean up, and put whatever's left into a box and have it presented, especially around, and that's like around Day of the Dead is when they do that, is to pull them out and to honor your loved ones. And I did go walk that cemetery, and that is, it's kind of disturbing a little bit. Like for me, it's disturbing, but for them, this is what they do. They've been doing this for generations upon generations, so it is normal. But like it also, if there's still leftover parts that should have been decayed that are still on, that means that person still wants to hang around and be around. They're really close with you then. So it's very, of course, some people would see that as gruesome, like, oh my gosh, that's disturbing. But for them, like this is, as little kids, they're brought to these to the crypts, and they clean them up.
This because then I think Brandy brought up the death photos from like the 1800s or the early 1900s, where you have the dead people and then the whole family come around and take
exactly.
Yeah.
So every culture has its own thing, but
so
here.
And also, I just saw the comment there about the zone of silence where missiles have fallen out. The alleged, I was going to say this, the legend of what that zone of silence was actually a crashed UFO. It's a crashed UFO site is what the legend is. And that is what has caused all these issues.
So that would affect like airplanes flying overhead too. I mean,
if it's affecting missiles, I don't know, but yeah, but I'm assuming aircraft fly over it all the time, so that maybe slightly debunks it. Maybe the missiles aren't as high. I don't know.
Or maybe it just depends on how close they get to the ground in that area, I guess.
Yeah. Like vehicles are still going to work because there's people driving in and out of that area, right?
Yeah.
But some other electronics, I don't think it like kills the electronics to stop working, but I think it just affects them. But again, I don't know until I go there, and I'd love to go there.
It's probably in the middle of the desert, right?
Well, yeah, because
we desert.
Right, because we did talk about that, like Skinwalker Ranch, where they have places on the ranch itself where they can't fly helicopters over or anything like that because it totally knocks out all the instruments.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they've got a similar situation in that particular area.
And so, since we're talking about cryptids and everything, why do you think that there is a spike in sightings, encounters, experiences with cryptids? What is your take? And I know, like, we're all just going to take a shot I don't say a shot in the dark, but we're kind of take a guess by listening to everybody. But what is your thoughts as to why this is happening?
Go ahead, Krista. We'll let you go first.
Okay. My thought is that I think people have more outlets to talk about. It's more accepted in certain places, so they're more comfortable in talking about it. Also, I feel like that the towns are building and they're moving into their territory. So where else are they supposed to go? There used to not be a house here on this 100 acres. Now there's a subdivision,
So you're leaning on more of an increase in the actual reporting because of comfort and that we're encroaching on their area. So it's not necessarily an increase in cryptids. It's just an increase in chance of these, and because we're pushing into their territory.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's just my opinion, you know.
I completely agree with that. I think that people are more comfortable about coming out talking about this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
You know, they're not going to get ridiculed
Right.
as much. I mean, there's more safe places for people to tell their story, and people will tend to believe them a little bit more now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a ramping up of everything. I think there's a
Art
thing
bell quickening.
There's something at the end of time drawing us towards it, and I think everything is picking up all this weird energy that we're dealing with, and it's just one more thing that's being added to it. And there's all different types of, say, dogmen, for example, that people that do, maybe there's military experiments. We haven't the slightest clue. If we have a true $2 trillion black hole deficit and we don't know where it goes to, how is that not even a possibility that those things cannot just exist? Because you have the military thing, you have maybe interdimensional, you maybe have some type of like that we haven't seen before, and maybe there's just some type of, because I think the strangeness of the world is just becoming more and more. I think what Krista said about being more available is also true, but I also think it's happening more often as well.
Yeah. And then a lot of people believe the veil is thinning, and I believe that as well.
Yeah, it very much could be an accumulate, like all of these are
maybe it's being lifted.
You know
what I mean? Like the veil is just completely being lifted, because I think we're in the age of enlightenment. I really do. I think that 2012 thing was an actual situation that's happened. If you look around the world and the way people think, the way we used to talk about in the past about things and the way we talk about them today are completely different, where everyone just accepts certain things that have happened, whether it be in New York, whether it was in DC, whether it was in Vegas. We're just like, something isn't right. And I think this whole cryptid situation is just kind of like another shoot off of that. That's what it is. It's just everything is being exposed.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, we're coming up on the 52-minute mark, so we're going to take a 10-second pause so we can pay the bill. So we're going to be quiet for 10 seconds and go. All right, everybody, continue on. Quick and easy break.
I like Chris Phoenix's comment there. It's just that we all died in 2012.
That's the thing you said.
And there's a theory that when you die, your brain is alive for 7 seconds, but those 7 seconds exist in this reality. But within that time could be endless. That 7 seconds could be 30 years in equivalent to, or something along that line.
Yeah, but sometimes you can sleep for like 10 hours and it feels like you slept for 4.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I actually like the conspiracy theory that the world started on Thursday. I don't know if you guys all heard that.
I have not.
This one just gets me. I'm like
yesterday.
Okay. Yeah. Like the world just started
yesterday.
Yeah. And everything you remember is just implanted memories, because there's no way to really prove it. And when you start to think about it and go a little deeper, you're like, well, technically, we have no proof that the past existed. Oh, we have all these pictures and stuff like that. Well, if we're in some sort of simulation, that could all just be created. I think it's just, I think it's super interesting. I love those kind of things where you can just go deep and there's no possible way you could really prove it's right or it's wrong.
It's really strange, too, how everyone's reality is subjective. For some reason, everyone else is in your movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's the donut guy and there's the dog catcher, and I'm chilling. It's just such a. That's why you need to take psychedelics out there, ladies and gentlemen, at your doctor's discretion. And I'm good. I've been doing this for a little bit, and try to connect with everyone. I always try to say that, because people always want to have some type of separation that you're different, but you're really not. You're just a part of the whole.
And that Project Bluebeam, everybody says Project Bluebeam. Could not Project Bluebeam be a psyop onto itself? And that's the one that Sam was talking about, where maybe they're trying to put this out there to make you think, oh, there's a Project Bluebeam, so that when the actual aliens do come, that you think it's just a joke and you actually think it's just the government doing it, when it's actually, it could be that it's aliens that are here to help us. We don't know.
Could be. You know, we have a friend that she's big into the aliens and the CE5, and some of her beliefs are that, you know, we're ruining this planet and they're coming back to try to help save our planet.
Interesting.
Can they?
We can hope. We can only hope, you know, because
Planet's
are we
fine.
tearing it up? Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah.
The planet
Absolutely.
is fine.
Yeah.
The idea that the planet is messed up is what the problem is. It's
Mhm.
all about love. Sorry, guys.
Like I believe we need to clean things up. Don't get me wrong. I think we got to pick up our garbage.
yeah, don't poop in the water.
Yeah, but to think that we are, you know, to give us so much credit that we're actually affecting the earth, and like some people are going to take offense to this, but you know that we have that big of an impact on the earth maybe is a little arrogant.
And what can go against God's will? Anybody? All right.
Right. Right.
Argument settled. Argument settled.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I did watch a documentary. Oh gosh, it must have been last week or the week before, but it was talking about all the garbage and everything that they're bringing out of the sea and all that. I mean, I would hate to think that it's that bad,
Yeah.
but I believe that we could use some help. I don't know if they're coming back or coming here for that to help us. I'm not sure about all that. Aliens are way out of my wheelhouse. I have no idea. But
Yeah.
what do you think? What do you think about this Miami Mall business? I mean, do you think that there was
Yeah.
an actual alien sitting there?
Well, Pancho Zorge just asked that. So,
Okay. So my thing is, I don't. I actually don't think there was aliens there. As much as I really am a believer in many things, when seeing that many cop cars, okay, yeah, that's the thing. There's that many cop cars. But if they were aliens, I know Tom and I were talking about this yesterday. Yeah, I was like, where's the military presence? The alleged Black Hawk helicopters, there were none. Okay, so there was no military presence. If it was, that military would have been there like that. Now, to say someone called in an active shooter at the mall because there's these teens shooting off fireworks, and I don't know, and don't get me wrong, I'm not buying into that story either. I don't know what really to believe, but if someone's to call that there's an active shooter, yeah, you're going to get a huge surge of police cars, especially now. I think especially now because of the people dropping the ball in the past, and also being in Florida with DeSantis, where it's kind of like, let's clean this up. Like it's kind of like get in there and do something. That's my guess. That's my assumption on this one. So I'm, as much as I would like to say that it was aliens, I can't say it was or it wasn't, but I'm in the camp that possibly it wasn't aliens in the mall.
I am withholding judgment because I don't. And I know it sounds maybe a cop out, but there's so many things happening that I just can't.
Yeah,
I
and there's,
I feel like a cat with a bunch of strings around me.
Yeah,
and
because
I don't care. Kind of.
There's too much. Yeah, there's too much. People, like there's too many people out there trying to get like their 15 minutes of fame, and they posting these videos telling these stories. Oh, I saw this and I saw this. Like there's one guy I bought in almost pretty much hook, line, and sinker when he was saying that these teenagers brought out this device. It looked like a DVD player, and it opened up this portal, and this creature was coming out. It sounded so legit, and until I was kind of going further and further into it, and then I was like, and the videos that are showing, and they're like, look at this blob, this is what it is, and it's like, no, that's not. And if there's
it's three people walking, yeah,
and it's kind of like, okay, so that's that. What about all the security footage from the mall? That place is,
where is the security footage from Vegas? I'm stuck on 2017.
Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. There is nothing that comes out of Vegas.
Okay, what about all the
You got it.
fans?
You got
all
it.
500 of them. That didn't stay in Vegas. We all heard about that. But let me see the elevator. And if you got every table being monitored, where is the security footage? I mean, like that's where I'm still stuck in the past. I'm trying to figure out 9/11 still, guys. Yeah, I'm still in Kennedy.
It's. You're right. There's a lot of unanswered questions. You know,
and they just keep on piling on more and more.
Yeah.
Right. Paul, what do you think about that Miami thing?
Yeah.
Well, you know, a lot. I've seen a lot of the videos. I haven't seen all of it or whatever. I don't really watch the news too much because I can't stand it. And
Agreed.
what I've seen is like that shot from up above where they show that blob of things walking.
Mhm.
Even unfocused, that's 3 cops walking in gray uniforms or something.
Mhm.
And some of the stuff that I've seen, you could shoot it in a way that will make somebody look like 10 feet tall and an outline kind of funny with lighting weird like that. So, I don't buy it. I think it was just some hoax. Somebody called in an active shooter thing. That was the big police presence down there. I really don't think it's aliens. I mean, are they really going to go shopping in Miami?
Right. Are they just going to be
Right.
hanging out on the sidewalk with everybody, people
Right,
watching?
they'd be on the beach in Miami, not in the shopping
Right.
mall, right?
Right.
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 And if
Yeah.
we're going to conspiracies, we always like something always seems to pop up when something else is being released
There
on
it
the
is.
news.
Mhm.
So there was a list that
Sleight of
perhaps
hand.
was being released. If you know, and all of a sudden now we have this Miami alien. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Brandy,
know,
what's your view?
I don't believe it was alien. I do not. If you watch the CBS Miami and you look at their videos, you can see like 20 teenagers beating up on one guy. There was reports of vandalism. You've got eyewitness accounts of all of this, and I think the heavy presence that showed up was because they were stealing. There was about 50 of them, and they were causing a riot-like atmosphere. So
there we go.
Now,
there you
now
go. That's what I think.
What about this situation? Maybe the police or the government didn't want another active shooter situation coming out, so they just made up this whole alien thing.
But why
could
would
be.
they want it to come out?
There's
Well,
been so
yeah.
many active shooters, and it's getting kind of disgusting.
Well, like
It's-
there has already been like 20 in this year already.
Right.
Yeah, it's bad business is
ridiculous.
what
Yeah.
it is. It's bad business. You're talking about a major shopping area with
Mhm.
thousands of people. That's
Right.
just
So
That's just bad advertisement.
I don't think that it was
That's it.
I don't think that it was like trying to suppress it. I think it was like, let's get in there and deal with this is what it was. With
yeah,
that.
it's just, let's just stop it right now before it gets out of hand. It's already, it's already out there. I mean, the videos are out there. They had eyewitnesses talking about the violence that was going on and all of this kind of stuff. I think they showed up because this is just a major metropolitan area for them. This is
I
like,
agree. Yeah, like
this is
like
what
we
brings
need
in
to
revenue.
act, and yeah, we're going to deal with it with a heavy hand. Now, that being said, so I saw a comment earlier saying, the Pentagon behind a closed door meeting, someone said that these aliens are interdimensional, not from outer space, and like if we're talking about aliens, I would say, I think words have a lot of strength and power to them. They have a lot of meaning. So when we talk about extraterrestrial, ETs, right? We say ETs, extraterrestrial. Terrestrial, if people know the definition of that, that means of this earth. Okay. It doesn't mean terrestrial doesn't mean Mars. Terrestrial doesn't mean Venus, doesn't mean, from the Sirius constellation or anything like that. It means from this earth. So we put on the extra word, extraterrestrial, extra land from this earth.
I want to kind of go back because I do speak German, and in German they say Außerirdische. So außer means außerhalb means out of this earth.
Okay, but that is that,
Instead
and
of
I'm
saying,
talking
like,
about this
it's
though.
colloquial.
But what I'm also saying though is that I don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're not all from outer. I actually believe that we have 3 types. We have interdimensional. I think we have from extra land. And I believe from outer space. I think
they're underwater.
Well, that would be extra land, the UAPs.
Extra land.
Yeah.
Underwater.
bingo. That's where I think they're in. I think that some of them are in the ocean.
Yeah. They're like
It-
that movie
if
where they
you-
go up. That movie from like '89 where they're underneath the water with Ed Harris, I think his name is.
Abyss.
The Abyss.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if we think about this, there is so much of the ocean that we have not explored. That how do we know what is down there?
Yeah.
And
We don't.
okay,
How do we know?
We don't even know what's going on in Miami.
what was that? When they set off that bomb underneath in the
In the atolls?
What, sorry? No, in the Gulf of Mexico, they set off a huge explosion that was like this, like almost, it was just like a half of a nuclear bomb. It was one of the largest nuclear not nuclear, but largest explosion. They used this largest. No. They set this off. Like, why are you detonating this device underwater? Oh yeah, we're just testing it. No. They're like, you would have environmentalists up in arms if you're detonating these types of devices. There has to be a reason why. Is it a kaiju? Is there a kaiju under the? We saw the kaiju's coming from the interdimensional beings that are coming through from the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's some kind of titan down there.
Yeah.
And for them to be setting anything off like that in the Gulf of Mexico is kind of crazy.
What do you think North Korea's been doing is shooting all those missiles into the ocean? They've been protecting us all along from Godzilla.
I second that thought. Rye for president.
Right. Kaijus are down there. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
If you're a Skyrim fan, you'll know. So
I think you've been hanging around me way too often. That came out of the blue.
I don't know. Like I said, there's so many things out there, and we're just now touching on other planets and figuring out what's going on other planets. I mean, we're only on the surface of those planets. We don't know what's inside.
Right.
I mean, we've not dug down so deep where we know what's going on in there. So, I mean, I couldn't possibly say if they were interdimensional or not. I don't know. I do think that they have been here, and they've been here for a long time.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of theories about reptilians mixing with humans, and that they're in, politics, and I don't know.
We don't know. It seems
But
like when you're a kid, you were thinking like, oh, when you get to be an adult, that you kind of would figure some of this stuff out. And you come to realize that we don't know nothing. And we look at our kids and we're like, good luck. In a sense, we love you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but it's weird. You ask yourself about these people filming glitches in our Matrix. Mm-hmm. I mean, have you seen any of those where it's like, do you think that's real?
Like people can keep doing things over and over again. Like there was this one where it's like we can talk NPCs where there's people.
They freeze.
I believe there's actually NPCs where people are non-playable characters, kind of like in video games. If you know that, where perhaps they're just shells, and that can tie into the Nephilim and whatnot, because these are these disembodied spirits that are maybe looking for things to inhabit, but. That's a whole other topic. But yeah, these glitches in the Matrix, that brings us to almost like the Mandela effects. And where we go with those, like what really are those? I don't know.
What are they?
Thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know what they are, but there's very specific ones that bug the crap out of me.
Which ones?
The Volkswagen symbol not being together. Ed McMahon was never on Publishing Clearinghouse. God, I'm 44 next month, and I know I've seen that.
I've seen Ed McMahon on Publishers Clearinghouse.
He was giving away them checks.
The A-Team van was black with a red stripe, but and now it's silver, red stripe, black.
Wow.
And what else?
There was another one.
Come on. I'm waiting for you to say this one, because this is the one I want to talk about.
We're not going to talk about the Bear Street Bear.
No. Which one? Go for it. Fruit of the Loom.
The cornucopia thing.
The cornucopia thing from Fruit of the Loom.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
So that brings me, and this is definitely one thing I want to talk about. So there is this one lady who I follow, and she dives deep, like extremely deep into these mandalas, even going further into, even just issues with the companies, and Fruit of the Loom has had an issue where, they poisoned, I think it was in Michigan. They dumped a lot of poison into the water, poisoning a lot of people. And this is still found in that. And instead of actually dealing with it properly, they paid like a $4 billion fine. Okay. Or it could have been million, but I think it was billion. And then they sold themselves to someone else for $8 billion. So that they could not be prosecuted anymore, because it was an exchange. That company doesn't exist anymore. That's what this woman does as she searches. But okay, I want to bring this up where she decided to do this. She decided to create a T-shirt, okay, Fruit of the Loom t-shirt with a cornucopia on it and
Mhm.
said, I'm going to sell these. And it's not copyright infringement because you keep denying that these are yours. So
Wow.
I'm going to sell these and I'm going to make a lot of money. And now if you come after me, then that proves that it is actually legit.
And then we get to sue you again.
Yeah.
So I do remember Fruit of the Loom with the cornucopia.
Cornucopia.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
That
that.
is
What
huge.
was another one? Krista and I were just like,
Monopoly man with the monocle. So and like when I'm saying she does deep dives, she found a certain, like, she contacted a gentleman who has like the largest owner of Monopoly boards, and he's going through them all. Like he has like he has the world record for the most collection. Now they did find it on a $2 Monopoly bill in one of these monopolies that were sold in Europe. That's the only one they could find. It was a $2 bill in like the Monopoly money that was sold in Europe only. But other than that, it's never been there. You know, there's also Jif and Jiffy peanut butter.
Mhm.
There's
Yes.
what is
So
that?
I remember it as Jiffy.
Yeah, me too. Jiffy.
We are the
Mhm.
champions from Queen.
Mhm.
At the very end,
Yeah.
he does not say of
Of
the
the
world.
world. And everybody says that.
He does not say it.
You're
If
right.
you go back and listen to it. It does not say at the very end of the world. It says, we are the champions, and it just fades away.
I always add of
It
the
blows
world.
my mind.
Of the world. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And
What was the other one, Chris? It was about Nelson Mandela died in prison. Is that the one? I can't remember.
That's what I came up with. That's why the name
Yeah.
Mandela effect
Yeah,
exists.
yeah.
Yes.
Right,
He died
right,
in prison, and then he became president. And then there was another thing where there was actually another one attached to that. There was that died in prison. Nope. Then he became president, but another one where he actually died outside of prison as well. Like before he, I don't know, is he still alive or is he dead?
2013, I think.
Yeah.
Actually.
And there's Bob Barker too. You know, from The Price is Right. He
Which
was
one?
supposed to. He died so many times. Like but he actually died last year. I believe he actually did.
Maybe
Rest
he
in
was-
peace,
maybe
Mr.
he
Bob
was a
Barker.
witch.
But
Like
yeah.
they got
Yeah,
9
99.
lives or something.
Yeah. What
Nine
about what
lives.
do you guys remember Fruit Loops? Do you remember FRUIT or
FRUIT.
FROOT?
FRUIT.
Yep.
Tony the
Exactly.
Tiger, black nose or blue nose?
Black.
Black nose.
Black.
Blue.
It's blue now.
Yeah, it's blue.
Maybe now, but it used to not be.
You'd be black, right? Or the
Yeah.
Pikachu
It's
with
not
the black
even.
tail.
The
and there's
Pikachu with the
so
black
many-
tail. Yeah.
There's so many. Where you're just
A
like,
blue nose doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
That's not real.
And I have
Mm.
and I've brought this up many times. Is there's a movie called The Mandela Effect, and it kind of circles all around this. It kind of encompasses all of this, where they discuss all these and they bring it up in the movie, and it's all about quantum computing. And he loses his daughter. His daughter ends up drowning in the ocean. But there's some glitches, and he actually sees her. Like, you know, at times he'll see her, and then he'll resort back to a different life. It's like he's bouncing all around, and he ends up inputting some code into the quantum computer, resetting the whole world to start over again.
What do you think this is? Do you think they changed the timeline so they can change history, like a Project Looking Glass kind of thing? You know, where like they go into the future, or they go into the past to affect the future, so that a certain outcome is being then projected upon us, so that we are all running around and like,
Okay,
I don't know,
so
more
th-
people
this
are
actually-
nervous now than they used to be.
This brings up actually a great thing. Is one of the first people who started recording these Mandela effects is closely associated with some nefarious groups. Okay, some big name groups, and this is a talk that perhaps, you know, she's doing this because she wants us to return to that timeline when perhaps they were going to succeed. So if we're all wanting that timeline that existed with all these other effects, you know, and we can, because there's strength in consciousness, you know, if we're able to will that to happen, maybe will put us back onto that timeline that was supposed to be directed for their victory. But in fact, now things are changed.
Nose was blue again.
Yeah.
Such a
I'm-
strange thing.
I'm
Why
still
is
stuck
that-
on the Volkswagen logo. I'm
Yeah.
looking at it right now. The V, and it's
I remember as a kid going to my father, and he goes, "Okay, we used to go around, and we were in the parking lot of my dad's friend's house." And he's like, "Oh yeah, this one's Chevrolet. It has a little cross, and the Ford with a little loop. Do you remember the Ford logo, the emblem?
Yep.
The lower part of the F has a little loop in it now. That's weird.
Yeah.
But I particularly remember he goes, you see what that says? That's Volkswagen. I go, I don't get it. He goes, see, look, here's the V and here's the W, but they're together. I specifically remember that, and now they've never been that way.
Yeah.
It's always been separated.
That's what they say. Well, Letitia Nunnelly, she asked, was it Crossman BB gun or Crossman with one S? It's another
That
one I
two
heard
S's.
about.
That
Two
I don't
S's.
know.
It's two
Yeah.
S's, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
And I haven't been in the States for 20 years. Living in the States since like 2001. Well, longer than 20 years. So I would say.
Oh, one of the biggest ones, in my opinion, Looney Tunes.
Yep.
Gorton's Fisherman. Is it Gordon's
Yes,
Fisherman?
it used to be Gordon's with a D.
D.
Yes, it used to be with a D.
So why is it like if there's something wrong in the world? This is the weird thing. I guess where there's more that's actually happened because these are all shared memories, but there's so many little things that have probably changed that we don't even notice. You know what I mean?
Somebody was offended by D, so they made it a T.
It was something, Paul. It was definitely something. I mean, but these companies, as you're going back to them and you're like, hey, I don't remember this being like this. I don't remember this certain logo or da-da-da. And they're not saying anything. They're just saying this is the way it always was.
Well, and
like
this is a theory as well, is that these companies are doing that as a experiment to see if they can actually change our perceptions of history. So it really did exist, but they're trying to erase everything and change everything to convince you that it never did exist. It's like an experiment on humanity to see if they can actually get us to believe that. Even though, when people are trying to find these old products with the names, that baffles me as to, we're going back and, we're looking at these old shirts. It's like, no, it wasn't on there. But how did we see that? And that's where I actually believe we jump timelines. I totally believe we're kind of bouncing timelines right now. We're kind of bouncing around and collecting, groups of people from different timelines. We're kind of like, or your consciousness is from this timeline and your consciousness is from this timeline. That's why some people are like, nah, I don't remember that. That's the way it was. It's because that's the timeline that they were from originally. Whereas we're, maybe from the prime timeline, as I like to call it.
There's also people who are just completely out of it too, dude.
Oh, of course. But
Yeah.
those people are like, yeah, exactly. Like Nelly's saying, they're trying to weaken our sense of reality, perhaps as well. Just trying to mess with us.
Or a demoralization campaign, like Sam Tripoli says, is like demoralizing. They're trying, like when you look at certain people who have been prosecuted for telling on certain elements of the government who are now still who were extradited away from a certain place. That's weird that they can do something criminal-wise. Someone can point that out, and the criminals go, "Look, we're going to take them away," and the rest of us go, "Well, what are we supposed to do?"
Well, for Just Curious, it says Oscar Mayer. I mean, there was a whole song, and I know the whole song.
Sing that.
I know the whole song, and it's Mayer is the one that I remember. You're going to think I'm crazy, but I do go into haunted locations and sing that song.
Why? You like
just because it's just something to sing. It's like what are you doing? I don't know. Because I'm not your normal. I'm not your normal investigator. I'm not in there. What's your name? Do you know what day it is? I am not that person. I just start singing and see what happens.
Do they sing with you, though?
The Flintstones.
I get a lot of reactions. That and You Are My Sunshine is the other song that I'll sing. Just to see what'll happen. And I get a lot of reactions with it. So try singing a song and you'll find out it works.
So I really think this show, not to wrap anything up because I know or whatever, but like so we went from Bigfoot farts to Brandy singing Oscar Mayer Wiener song during
right.
I love this is the brevity of what the heck is going on.
I know, because we have discussed, we have literally discussed my investigation methods coming to, according to the paranormal, and mine are not normal.
Not textbook, I guess you would say. Which
nothing normal about my paranormal.
Right.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because I just find you just start talking and just having normal conversations, just start humming a tune, singing a tune, whatever, you get more action than, like I said, do you know you're dead? That's not going to work. That's not going to work. It's just you might get something, but it's not all the time, and it's very rare. But you get in there and just start goofing around. They're more interested in what you're doing because they want to talk. They want to, see what you're doing. They want to feel like they're alive again sometimes. And more often than not,
they don't
I have
want a serious
good
conversation. They want to sit around and shoot the shit.
That's right. That's right.
Like you
It's
bust
like
out the
if I have a feeling. Exactly. If I have a feeling that I'm talking to a female, we'll start talking about flowers. We'll talk about jewelry. We'll talk about, do you like high heels or flats? It's whatever. We just don't ask those normal questions.
That's a good
I
point.
think they're boring.
That's very unique. I like that.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like if you're talking to a gentleman, do you like belts or do you like suspenders? Do you prefer the bow tie, or the long tie, or, you just gotta just get in there and start asking all the weird questions, something they might like. Do you like cars or trucks?
Everything else. They've probably heard everything else before too. I think that's a very good technique, honestly.
Yeah, I like it.
We're gonna have to do that. We're gonna steal some of that.
Yeah, try it.
Thanks.
Yeah, make sure you have your audio. Make sure you get your audio.
We'll start
We
singing
started
some
doing
Spanish
lives.
songs.
Now we're gonna start doing more lives because that was a lot of fun. And then eventually we're gonna. So now it's like 3 pieces of material we put out a week, and then we're gonna bump that one up too. That we have to go out into Mexico, and I might get really scared, right? Bring your your buffalo sage, I think it's called.
Yeah,
white buffalo
sage. Yeah, white buffalo sage. Yeah.
So, you're gonna see Tom scared of us. If you see this face, that's
all right, Paul. What's your scared face?
You're looking at it.
And if you're listening later and you can't see this on YouTube, it's a complete straight face with just a little bit of smile.
Yeah, he's just straight face. Yeah, that's exactly.
It kind of looks like Wolverine's half brother with a flannel shirt on or something. He's got this whole thing going on. So just to give it a little bit more context.
Oh my goodness, that is just too funny. No, but I it's like we got talking about that one time, and it's like I always forget to turn on my audio before walking into a location, and it never fails. When I walk into a location, things just start happening. They're like, well, I'll hear people's voices, or in one instance, I heard a female going, "Hello." I went,
"Oh shit!"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Damn it! It's like recorder's not on."
Yeah, before I even turned it on, I hadn't even, because I carry everything in a backpack just to make it easier for me. Yeah. But I mean, I hadn't even set it down to pull out anything yet. And I said, I always say, I'm gonna learn my lesson. I'm gonna learn my lesson, and I still haven't learned my lesson.
But turn it on before you leave the.
And then when you turn it on, there's nothing.
Well, yeah, Krista's had that. Krista had that.
Yeah,
sure did.
That actually happened to me at Land Between the Lakes. Ooh. I was running an EVP session, and as well was another lady that was with us. She had a recorder. I had a recorder, and we were at the 1982 alleged kill site. So I was asking questions around that, about dogmen and things like that. And then it was the next day I went to listen to it, and there was nothing there. She went to put hers on. She had nothing too.
Straight.
It was as if it never got recorded.
I want to ask you a question, Krista, because we were talking to Daryl Denton recently. He said when you cross into the LBL, it's something that's different.
Whole different vibe on that place.
I gotta tell you though, the very first time that Kristen I had ever went there, she was in my car, I was driving. We pull in and we start going down into the LBL. All of a sudden, our eyes started watering. Our nose started running. I was getting a headache, and it was weird. Both of us at the same exact time.
Did you get zapped there?
We did not get zapped. We were just driving. We were in the car. It was just weird because,
I mean, though, you pretty like if we kind of go to a couple of people's thing, they think it's like some sort of radiation. Like it's like an ultrasonic kind of radiation attack. Could you not have hit through a point? Maybe there was something. If you're driving, there could have been something in the woods just there and like hit you. If you're hitting with a headache and all that.
Paul. We're going.
Well,
We're what?
Paul, we're going. We're all going.
Okay.
Just all of us are going.
We're going. I'll bring the beer, and you bring the Visine.
Yeah, the vaccine, and I'll bring the Advil.
Right. I mean, that would be definitely funny. I think we do more laughing than anything. Which is a good draw. I might say. But you got to remember that the LBL it has like 237 cemeteries.
Mm-hmm.
So were we hitting on something paranormal? Don't know.
Land between the rivers too.
Yes.
When you're saying with those cemeteries, there's a theory that Dogman hangs around cemeteries. Like it's coming in and out of the cemeteries. So that could also tie into that as well. That theory.
There's actually a cemetery at the LBL that supposedly somebody's seen a Dogman come out of a grave.
Mm-hmm.
That might have been what I've heard, because that sound, or that maybe it's someone else's report, but I've heard someone else talking about a Dogman coming out of some sort of portal in a cemetery as well.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, I could definitely see them hanging out in cemeteries. Their cemeteries are not. A lot of them are kind of up and out of the way, where you kind of have to have a truck or something else, and sometimes you have to walk to get to them.
Yep.
I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see them hanging there.
Plus, you got the water on both sides of it, and then you have all. It's got to be.
And water's a big conductor,
right?
As
so
well.
It's got the whole thing going on, because that's what he was telling us. Like he's been to a lot of. Daryl was saying I've been to a lot of crazy places, but the LBL is the strangest one he's ever been.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. When they flooded the city of Birmingham, or the town of Birmingham, they flooded that, and that's where the lakes came in. And they basically flooded out a whole town.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They tried to move. They have a cemetery there, and they tried to move the bodies out of the cemetery, but the ones they couldn't get a hold of family members, well, they're still there.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys have a couple questions before we end this show tonight. I want to ask real quick here. Let me find them. William asked, "Is Bigfoot known in Mexico?"
Pie Grande. So Bigfoot, it is, but
I don't think it's
not
here.
Yeah, not in this area. So possibly if you hit more, I would say maybe northern or even southwestern, maybe you might hit it. But I honestly don't know.
Okay,
He's
and he
also
asked. He also asked about Dogman.
Hombre Lobo.
That's more werewolf.
Yes, but that could be, but that is also kind of in that context of Dogman. But again,
I don't think that's known here at all.
Yeah, in this area, you're not really going to hit those
People
stories.
will know, like if you say Bigfoot, they will go, "Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about." But if you say Dogman, they don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, they'll say Hombre Lobo, but there's not really any where we are. We'll say in the Yucatan Peninsula, you're not going to find those types of stories. From what I've heard, and I know because we would have talked about it, or what has Tom heard as well. We haven't heard anything other than Alusha's. More of like paranormal ghosts,
Duendes, and witches.
Yeah, and witches. That's what you'll hear a lot of in this area, and UFOs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you guys have coming up? You guys got anything new coming up?
Well, on Tuesday next week, we're going to be doing a live. I have a good friend, Sal, is going to be coming on. He's going to be diving into some occult. Some Rudolf Steiner. He's going to be talking about Rudolf Steiner. So that's going to be on Tuesday. As for episodes being released, well, we just released ours with Juan from One-on-One Podcast. That was great. We have a bunch of episodes all lined up, coming. Like there's one I'm really looking forward to where it's a bit of a glitch in the Matrix. Really, really strange story.
We also had Hibbler on. What was this?
Yeah, Sean Hibbler.
We had Sean Hibbler on recently. He's releasing things about
he's
the past.
He's a documentarian.
Certain things.
So yeah, he's got documentaries on FE Flat Earth. And so if you're interested in that, even if you're think it's a joke, I suggest just watching one of those. Is pretty cool. On the level.
He was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and what we got and talked about was kind of like Tartaria.
Cool.
So yeah, we've got a lot of cool guests coming up, and we got some more on our way too. So we're doing all right, man. We're getting there.
Awesome. Good deal. What
Good,
about you,
good.
Paul? Do you have anything coming up?
I have one that I'm editing this weekend. I talked with Ernie Davio.
Yeah,
He shares his Bigfoot encounter. Freaky.
freaky.
Yeah.
We just had him on too recently. I actually did the editing for that one.
Yeah, he's
you'll
a
hear it.
great guy. He's a great guy.
Awesome.
He works in a meat shop just like I do, and you know we kind of connected that way, and his story is just fantastic, freaky.
Yeah. Go check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I got a couple other guests coming on. They're really cool. I've been into mediums a lot lately. I don't know why. It's fascinating to me, and it's incredible. And so I got some of those coming back too. So
very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. You guys need to make it up to the States and hit a conference.
I agree. I totally agree. I would really like that. Maybe that'll be like late 2024. We can shoot for something like that if things are going well for us.
I think they're planning another Dogman conference in late, like fall time. So that might be a good one to come to.
Yeah, he was talking late September in Austin, Texas.
And is that Josh is talking that?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So
Great.
we'll have to wait on the final words from him, but I'm thinking that's what he's saying.
Yeah, and like I said, I got Josh lined up for February. I think we're going to do a live with him as well. So
Awesome.
on a Thursday, of course, is when we usually drop our live. So let's see what we can do Thursday or Sunday.
Yeah,
very cool.
And we'll get Paul out there investigating like a champ.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And I know Paul.
And I'll bring
and
my
us are
scared
gonna,
face.
It's also his driver's license photos. Ladies, he's married.
Well, you know what? Okay, so listen, Rye and Tom, if he goes on an investigation with us, I'll get his scared face. I promise you, I will take a picture.
Ooh,
You will,
And then I'll send it to you.
Will
I will send it to
not
you.
happen. That will not happen.
it's going to have to be warmer, at least, Paul, right?
Right.
Oh yeah.
and,
You know,
and
instead
also
of them
I know
coming-
that.
It's-
Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Paul.
go ahead, Rye. Go ahead.
I was going to say that like Paul's been, Paul and us have been reaching out, like talking. We're going to do a collab podcast as well. We're going to do an episode where we're interviewing someone together as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very cool.
That will be cool. Yeah.
Instead of you guys coming up to the States, why don't we all go down where it's nice and warm to Mexico?
You can
There you
on
go.
my
Why do you think
free
I asked
property.
him how far
Yeah.
they were from Cancun area?
Well,
I
there's
was asking.
and there's the new train. So the train that goes in, it runs right to where we are.
pick you up.
And it goes to all the archaeological sites because that's one thing we talked about. We said we should have like tours, bring people down and do.
I hope you like
tours of these-
rickety old Ford Rangers. That's what I'm picking you up in. We might not make it back.
Well, that's all right.
That's awesome.
You get out there. You get out there with me. We're going in a Jeep. So just hang on.
Yep. There
That's
you
right,
go.
that's right.
There you
I got
go.
some mudslingers, so I got some mud tires on it, but it likes to break down a lot.
Yep.
Oh well. Okay.
Well, I want to.
No comment. No comment.
It's the truth.
Because I'm always I'm picking him up. He's like, my truck's broke down. Can you come get me for the interview? Sure.
Speaking of doors, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, quick thank yous to William for becoming a member.
There you go.
Shade Viking, thank you.
Awesome.
Sherry Griffey, thank you very much. Letitia, thank you very much. Catherine, thank you. And Liberty 1776. Thank you all very much. We appreciate each and every one of you. And wow,
That
this
was
has been a quick show.
Yep.
This was fun.
It was fun.
Time flies when you're
Yes,
having
this
fun.
is fun.
And
Yeah.
when
You
you
guys
talk
are all
have to
gonna
do it
have
again.
to. You guys are all gonna have to come back because this has been fun.
absolutely.
Wow.
Game. We're always game.
We'd always talk. I like I like to shoot the breeze, and when people know how to do this, because no one's cutting each other off, and it's been a lot of.
Except I was cutting Paul off at the end. Me and Paul were like, I was like, oh, crap. Normally it doesn't happen, but this
That's that glitch in the matrix we're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yep. Well, I want to remind everybody, Paranormal Roundtable is going live, so tune over there, watch them. You guys stick around for a second. Don't hang up when we're done here, and we will see everybody next week.
All
Have a
right.
good
Bye,
weekend,
everybody.
everybody. See ya.
See you guys. Thanks.
Later.